to be a wrestler? And I said, well, yeah.
Sure, why not? Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he says, well, get $300 and come down here and we'll put you through a tryout. Just get yourself a physical first and sign the waiver. We'll send you the information. So at that time, there's no email or anything like that, right? So I get my forms, my waiver, my forms in the mail. I get the tryout dates. I choose one, and I go down.
Man,
I go through the 3-day tryout. I don't know if you've heard about the tryouts they were having back then.
I'm actually really interested because like right now the big thing is the WWE Performance Center, and kind of one of the things I wanted to ask you about is how was the power plant? Yeah, what was the training like down there? The tryout.
I've never been to the Performance Center, but
yeah.
I can assume that it was completely different. Back in those days, it was very hard to get in the business.
Right.
You had to know someone, be second or third generation, things like that. So this was basically a weeding out process, and they were trying out anywhere from 25 to 30 guys a month. And for 3 days, if you made it to 3 days, they were just basically just running you into the ground. I'm sure a lot of the guys who went through it with me will agree. Now, I'm not talking about the guys like the Goldbergs and guys like that who were brought in by friends and paid right away and prepped to be put on TV. I'm talking about guys who had wanted to be in the business, were nobodies like myself, and were just trying to break in. They tortured us.
Man.
We had to go, it was a 9-to-5 job without pay. Initially, we do the 3 days. If you make it through the 3 days, they invite you back. Well, there's a chance they'll invite you back to be trained. So I made it through the 3 days. I was the only guy to make it through 3 days on that tryout. They, it was a trip. So they tell me, okay, well, you made it. Nice job. And I'm like, okay. And I'm waiting. What comes next? They're like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, what do I want to do? I just went through 3 days of hell. You tell me, is there a plan?
Yeah.
We have a plan.
And what did they say? Did they have a plan, or were they just kind of like, no plan?
Okay. They said, well, if you can get $3,000 together,
what?
And, come back and we'll train you.
What? So wait, it's $300 to do 3 days, and then they're like, we need you to get $3,000, and then we'll let you start continuing to work to maybe getting paid eventually.
Yeah.
That sounds. I mean, I'm glad it worked out for you, Chuck, but that doesn't sound necessarily like the best strategy for wrestlers. Yeah,
not at all. But when you're naive, when you're young and naive, sometimes you'll take these risks.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And the ad, I remember the ad, and it was always in the back of my mind. There's a possibility after 6 months you may receive a 6-figure contract. So I'm thinking 6-figure contract. I'm a young guy, right? 6-figure contract. I've never seen 6 figures in my life. Okay. I grew up in a very middle to lower class income family. So I'm just thinking, oh man, I'm going to make 6 figures and be on TV. I believed it.
Yeah.
And when you're naive like that at times, you'll move forward. And so I did it. I went back, had a 1-year-old daughter at the time. Her mom, her and myself drive across country in an old Chevy Blazer with a U-Haul attached. I borrowed $3,000. It was a combination of different people. We drove across country. I show up at the school. I don't know where I'm going to live or anything like that. I ended up living in this ghetto hotel in Atlanta until we were able to get enough money together to get an apartment.
Man,
and that's how it started.
So you came in, I believe it's like 98 is like your first WCW appearance, but then really doesn't start getting going for you until about 2000, right? And then you get thrown into the mix with the New Blood storyline and Lex Luger and all of that. How was that for you, finally being given something after spending all of this time working and paying to get to that point? What did it feel like for you to finally be in the mix there with some of the big guys over at WCW?
It was incredible.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Well, number one, now I got a good job making excellent money, more money than I had ever dreamed of making. Number one, so now I can support my family, so that was big. And then number two, here I am working with these big names pretty much right away.
Yeah.
Very green.
Yeah, dude.
Very green.
I was looking back and I was like, damn, Chuck got thrown like right into it, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And so I had to learn quick, and I learned on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we did house. WCW didn't do a lot of house shows, so I worked independence as much as I could when I was training at the power plant. Me and a few of the other guys, we had a tight bond. Those natural born thriller guys.
Yeah.
We were very close. We hustled on the outside. We trained together. We ate together, and we did indies together. But I had to learn quick. We didn't have the internet at the time. I mean, I guess the internet was out, but you couldn't go on and watch matches on YouTube and learn these different things. You had to find someone who had a VHS, right? So you'd ask one of the old timers, "Hey, do you got any old tapes of your stuff from back in, you know, the '80s or whatever it was?" And that's how you learned. And then on TV, you learned. And there's a lot to learn in the business. Obviously, everything from in the ring, but there's also a dynamic outside the ring, right?
Yeah.
There's a code and there's a way to navigate through your career, and it's a lot to learn because there are some characters in wrestling. It's a silly, such an interesting business, and you'll learn a lot. I learned so much. It's the best life experience you can have, or life tool you can acquire is learning how to navigate through wrestling. But at the same time, it's a crazy business, right? There's some crazy characters.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that was like, so you really get going in 2000, like you say, you're making good money and taking care of family, but it wasn't like only a year or so later then that WCW folds, right, and gets sold to WWF. You were a
Yeah.
part of WCW's final pay per view, and you
Yes.
were part of WCW's final Nitro. You were a part of both.
Yeah.
What's your memories there of those kind of final days of WCW? Did you think that the company was in danger? Did you think that Bischoff was going to be buying it? Like, what did you think was kind of going on there in those waning days of the company?
I'm very unsure. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if Eric was going to buy it. I wasn't sure if Vince was actually going to buy it. I wasn't sure about anything until the night that Shane McMahon showed up in our locker room.
How was that?
And I want to say it was Panama City, Florida.
It was Panama City. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think him, Pritchard, and Gerald Briscoe, I think, were the guys that went.
Okay, yeah.
WWF.
Strange. Again, now I know they're definitely buying us, right? Shane shows up, so I know that, but I have no idea what's in store for us. I mean, because I know I've told other people, number one, am I going to have a job? Number two, if they do retain me, what are they going to do with me, right? Now you have double the roster, right? So, and there's still only 3 hours of TV.
Yeah.
So let's do the math. What are we going to do? So, but luckily, again, I was very fortunate that they brought me in right away,
Right.
and started using me.